anyway. What are the greatest things in your life?
My partner and kittens come to mind instantly.
Hi, I was also going straight to the dog,
A beautiful
and
dog setup.
unfortunately no longer with Bella,
Mm.
although she was a great thing in my life.
I loved that she
I
featured
don't think
very
we've
heavily.
mentioned on the podcast yet that Bella isn't here anymore. She has
Oh,
not
yeah.
co-hosted for a couple of weeks because she is unfortunately no longer with us.
Yes, and we
She
miss
got
her
very
crawling
ill
around you
very
and
quickly.
giving you acupuncture
I
and trying
know.
to feature very heavily in most of our earlier flat whites.
I know. And then she got very ill, and then I had to say goodbye, which is
Mm,
very sad.
yeah.
Um, so if you have been wondering where our co-host has disappeared off to, well, she's now at where do I mean, I know
Rainbow
dogs go to,
Bridge. She goes
yeah,
to
I was gonna
Rainbow
say
Bridge.
dogs go to like the big farm in the sky. I don't know where cats go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
No, that's where she is, wherever cats go.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those questions where I instantly think of Chris and my two cat boys. But then I'm like, what else?
But I think also the great this is I don't like sort of putting it on like, oh, this is the number one spot, and because all of there's so many great things, and they all have their own specific importance,
Mm,
right? Like, and I wouldn't say that Heba is more important than my friends, or
mhm.
that my friends are more important than Heba. They all hold, and even like among my friends, like they all have their own specific parts to play.
Yeah.
Um,
And I naturally go to things like, but I think there's other things like the creative, weird brain that I have that I think is actually a huge asset, but I never think of it that way. I kind of, it can get lost. It can go down rabbit holes. It can be,
never,
a
you can
brute.
never go down rabbit holes. You don't do tangents.
But in the context of business, that is such an asset to me that I never recognize as a good thing. Until recently, until we started talking more about those positive things that do come out of how you are and the way that you are curious about ideas and often someone will start talking about something and my brain is sort of zinging all the time going, oh, I've got some great thoughts for that person, or I want to share something with them that could help them, or and it never turns off. I must say, over the years, my this thing that happens with my brain never turns off. But I'm now realizing how brilliant it can be now that I focus in on the visual, on the blueprints that I'm now doing, and how valuable that is there. So in context, it has a lot of value in those specific places. It's like you and your artworks and things. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant, some of the creative stuff that you come up with. And those wonderful ideas that you have about how to share stories.
I think part of why we don't always see it is because it's so normal to us, because this is just how our brain works.
Mm.
This is just what we are able to do. So we don't always see how magical that is, because we just assume that everybody thinks the same way, right?
I mean,
Uh,
we're
and,
not
and it
blowing
turns
smoke up
out
each other's
they
asses,
don't.
by the way. This is not the point of saying this.
No, 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 no. But like, but sometimes and I think this goes to that, to what are the great things in your life. Like, we often take a lot of things for granted,
Mm.
uh and I think there's something really special about taking moments in your day to just really appreciate, oh, this is really good. Like, I had a work friend check in with me recently, and I realized, oh, she really does this like every other week or so. She sends me a message to ask how I'm getting on, and and I really appreciate it. I really like it. It's wonderful, and and I hadn't quite realized how impactful it is to have someone just every so often send you a message, hey, how are things on your end?
Mhm.
Uh, and and that's the smallest possible thing. There are, I really set an intention at the start of this year to express more often to the people around me how I appreciate them and all, but and what I appreciate about them, and it makes people feel really awkward. It's fun. Um, but also the feedback that I get a lot are people are going like, oh, but it's nothing, right? Like because we show up for the people around us and we do it in ways that often are so specific to us that they don't necessarily take up a lot of bandwidth,
Yeah.
but it can be so impactful and important to the other person to just to be able to have that conversation or to have that check-in or to receive that message, to get an invitation to have a cup of coffee, or to all of these sort of little ways that we can show up for people around us is I think we underestimate sometimes the impact we can have on people, because when we think about impact, we often think about big legacy type stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when I'm really tired and I ask my neighbors, can you please walk my dog? And they say, yeah, of course, no problem. And then they come and pick up my dog and walk her, and I don't have to leave the house again just for that one night. It's the best.
Yeah.
And it is nothing, right? It doesn't even register on their end as them doing anything particularly, but it can be so helpful. And I think when we look at things that are happening in our lives or the things that are around us, and whether that is, oh my God, my bed is so comfortable, or the cat is fantastic, or all of these little things that are in and around our house and our lives, when we can sometimes just look at them and go like, this is great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I
I
think
think
it's
in there's other things in business as well that can help others, like little gestures of following them on social media or commenting on something or telling them that they're doing a good job and knowing that it's a big deal for them to get something like that back. But for you, it's not a lot of effort, but those sorts of tangible, you know, quality type activities, I think we do take them for granted, and you sometimes do it without realizing that there's so much meaning behind it to someone else. But I think yeah, getting in the habit in business of acknowledging other people, and letting them know that you're supporting them is always a wonderful thing to do. And often, I mean, I'm very guilty of this. When you, when you ask what are the greatest things, I automatically went to, well, I love the car. You know, my microphone's pretty cool. We tend to put it on things around us that make us happy. And the car's going to go. We don't
I
own
mean,
it, we lease it, but
you often talk about the massive positive impact that air conditioning has had on your life.
and still having at this point. But yeah, and it's, I mean, you sort of hear about kids that they get so attached to their phones and iPods and whatever the things around them. But I think then when you think of pods, it brings music, and that is the reasoning behind loving something like that. It's not the thing itself, it's what it brings you. And so I think it's also about looking beyond sort of the basic things that you have and going, well, what do they give you? So Tony talks about music a lot in for his business, and he values it so much. We talk about children's books in context of business stories that can give someone some different context. And we value those stories so much from, because we both know one of the books that he talks about, and I love that story, the concepts behind it. And I think that's also where we sometimes forget how influential this sort of stuff is. But I've been listening to Bill Nye's uh is it Ill-Advised? I don't think I've got the name right, but it's fantastic because people send Bill questions, and then he gives you an honest answer. I mean, he was talking about, someone asked him what type of men's white shirts he recommends. And then he went
Okay.
into like the reasoning behind why he likes what he likes. Like the style that he likes is from the 1940s. He then gave some stores that he knows you can get some really good quality, but and then it was like generational stuff. It was all over the place, but it was, he has so much life, life something, whatever the word is, that in context of something so simple as someone asking about a shirt, he gives these beautiful stories of, you know, you can always hear him thinking about memories that are coming back from, finding this fabulous shirt that he wore. And I really like that, the way that you sort of thinking about things differently in different contexts from people, and the memories then, and the joy that you can have by those memories.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's all about sort of taking, I think a lot of it is about taking that moment to think about what you appreciate about the people around you, the things around you. And like you say, like what is the, because I could say like, yeah, I quite like my phone, but I mean, mostly what I like about it, like you say, is I listen to music on it a lot.
Mhm.
And I love that. I love my noise canceling headphones, but mostly I like them because so much work has been going on around the building, and I get to not hear that stuff. I get to just listen to my music. And music to me is also a very important part of my life, right? Like, so, so I think sometimes just taking that step back and having a moment where you're like, actually, this is a really cool thing, or this is a really fun thing that is adding greatness to my life.